Great. Thank you very much, Hannah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Tonight. This is the Planning Committee meeting from Town Council. I'm Steve Turner. I'll be chairing this evening's meeting. We want to make our meetings available to as many people as possible, regardless of where they are. So we're using a hybrid setup here in person in the Town Hall and online via Zoom. For those in the room, good evening again, Ken. Usual housekeeping. There's the fire exit. Down there on the right is the toilets. Hope you remember that from last week. Excellent, wonderful. And the assembly points in the car park, should the fire alarm go off, but hopefully it won't. For panelists on Zoom, please use the electronic raise hand by clicking on the participants button at the bottom of your screen. Those in the room, please raise your hand. For those on Zoom, please post questions to the Q&A board. Attendees' names will become visible. And as your question is answered, for those of the attendees in the room, again, please raise your hand. Tonight, Jane and Catherine are going to clerk, and Hannah will manage the questions board. And as ever, the meeting is being recorded for minuting purpose, and we also live stream onto our YouTube channel. Item number 2 on the agenda. Actually, I'm going to switch these around. I'm going to do number 3 first. Agree apologies of any absence received, which is we have no apologies for absence. Right. Thank you. We have to vote on that? We don't vote on that, do we? No. Great. I'm going to do item number 4 as well first. Any declaration members' interests? No. Great. So back to item number 2. Questions, comments, information from the public or councillors. Ken, good evening. Over to you. Need a microphone, I'm afraid, just for the people online. Excellent.
Right, sitting here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Those of you who don't know me, I'm Ken McCall from CPRE. I had the pleasure of speaking last Thursday. Thank you, Jane, for inviting me last Thursday and again tonight. A different site tonight, but I'd just like to, first of all, show you this. And I'm sure most of you, oh, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Panoramic. I'm sure most of you will recognize that view. Thank you. If it's not, I think it's a blip in the photography. I think it is, because I didn't actually take it myself, and my colleagues took it. I don't think it won't go that far. Yeah. Yes. Not as far as Glastonbury.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm sure if you haven't, if you don't recognise that view, it's the view from Marston Lane. Probably we as CPRE and my campaigning colleagues and Froomies would probably describe that as about the best view of a landscape setting from Frome. Absolutely glorious. This is Warminster. Now, this is really what they've done at Warminster to a similar sort of landscape view, where they've just started to the west of Warminster a project for 900 homes. That's only the start, mind you, but it just gives you an idea of what that landscape will very quickly become if we're not careful.
So this is the site adjoining the A36, isn't it?
36,
yeah,
correct.
It was, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
A36 and the road in from Longleat, I would describe
Yes,
it as.
yes. I know the one you mean.
A junction.
No, that's the road to Chapman Slates where the solar farm's going. Yeah.
Yes. We all had, I think some of the Warminster residents had quite a shock when they saw that the extent of that, that is only the start of a large housing project. which obviously upsets us to see a nice landscape spoilt by housing.
Yeah. Sorry.
When you say they, are you saying that the image that you're showing us now is the same developers as the applicant? No, okay.
No, it's not. No, it's just an example of how the view from Marston Lane will change from that panoramic that you saw first. Just a contrast, really, by way of contrast. So really, what I'd like to do now, if that's okay, I'd like to just quote from my latest objection to the Marston Lane development. It's 150 homes proposed off Marston Lane. So I'd like to just read my objection email, my latest one. I did send an earlier one when it was first talked about in the Frome Times, but my latest one to the case officer, Mr. Kerr Brown. He has acknowledged receipt of it, and obviously, therefore, I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm actually speaking from an objection email that the case officer has acknowledged receipt of. And here I say, dear Mr. Brown, I'm writing to you as case officer for the above application with the following objections. This application was turned down by Somerset County Council and Mendip District Council in June this year. MDC claimed that the site cannot be accessed safely and would have a significant adverse impact on existing residents. The site is not included in either the council's original local plan, which was adopted in December 2014, or the additional allocation within the local plan part 2, which was ratified by councillors in December 2021. The site is not sustainable. The site does lie within the parish of Frome, but it lies outside the defined development boundary of the town, as set by the council's local plan. The site would be located in open countryside, as you see on the panoramic tonight, and its landscape setting of Frome throws open a unique view of beautiful Somerset and is therefore considered unsuitable for further housing growth within the town. The prominent nature of the site would lead to a significant adverse impact on the local landscape and the existing views of Frome. The access road, the busy B3090 Marston Lane, is not suitable for access to the site, and a transport assessment has not been produced. The developer has provided insufficient information about how local heritage and archaeological assets would be protected. The developer has not demonstrated how the risk of flooding would be mitigated, both for the site and the wider area. This proposal has generated substantial local interest at application stage. This is demonstrated by the significant numbers of public objectors to the scheme who were unanimously backed by Frome Town Council, who also rejected the application. When the developer originally published this proposal in the Frome Times on the 25th of November 21, it was described as a kite flying exercise. I sincerely hope that, bearing in mind all the many serious objections to this irresponsible proposal, the developer has realized that it's a waste of everyone's time and money to continue flying the kite. That's the end of my email to the case officer.
Thank you very much. As you say, I know from Frome Town Council's perspective, we very much objected to this proposal, and we know that the appeal, I believe, is going to be heard in January. Is that correct? And we've been invited to be part of that process, and we obviously will attend and say what we feel about it at the right time. And Jane's been involved already, haven't you, with a couple of meetings? I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, there's been a pre-meeting with the planning inspector, which was mainly to run through procedure. And at that point, he was very specific that he wasn't there to hear any case against the appeal or any representations. So it was just procedure. But yes, as Steve said, we will be at the appeal in January.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you. So I would like to just add that if, as a town council, if you wanted to sort of work with us. We'd be very pleased to try and work with you on any subject in Frome, and not just Thursday's SGC that I spoke against, but obviously this one tonight at Marston Lane, if we can be of any help at all. And I'm not saying, you know, violent objections. I'm just saying if we can work together and we can use our knowledge and experience of campaigning in Somerset and Wiltshire. As you know, I come from Wiltshire. We'd be more than pleased to help. Also, what I would be interested in is any of those recent applications that have got permission, how many affordable homes, the percentage of affordable homes are for those developments. Also, you're probably aware that very recently over 50 MPs have spoken against the latest planning bill, particularly the 300,000 homes per year that have been talked about. They are against that. ONS has produced figures that go against that 300,000 per year figure, and also the 5-year land supply. That 5-year land supply, as you probably know, is something which we feel developers sort of hide behind and use that as an excuse for, you know, promoting developments. So yes, if there's anything that we can help or you can help us on, then I'd be pleased to join with you at any time. And if you want me to liaise with Jane, as I have done so far, we're happy to just, you know, email Jane or talk about that to you guys at any time.
Great, thank you very much, Ken. I mean, I think we share the sort of I don't know, annoyance. I'm not sure if that's the right word, with the whole 5-year land supply issue, especially at the moment in Mendip, with the phosphate issue going on the Mendip levels as well, and how much it is just bandied around as the whole reason for doing things. So I think, isn't there a vote in the House of Commons tonight or something?
There may be as one as recent as tonight.
Yeah.
But certainly that's a very good one you mentioned there about the phosphate levels. Again, developers are, you know, using that as an excuse for overdeveloping Frome, and particularly last Thursday's subject, SGC. That one in particular, they're using that as an excuse because they say they can't build on the levels. Well, that obviously isn't true, as we now know.
Well, hopefully, you know, we're not against development, but we don't want the developers, you know, hanging on the back of a feeble excuse at the end of the day. I think that's the main thing.
No, we don't like that at all. And sadly, developers use all sorts of excuses, and locally that is one of them, which we don't like at all. It's very, very sad what they do come up with as excuses. But no, it's not good.
Excellent. Thanks very much indeed.
Steve.
Don't any other councillors got any questions for Ken? No? Excellent. Thank you. Right, we'll go on to the rest of the meeting. You're more welcome to stay if you want, but we fully understand if you want to go off as well. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Right, moving on to, hang on.
Polly has joined us online, so even though she's online, she still needs to give her apologies, which she has done. So you'll now need to vote on accepting.
Okay.
Polly's
It'll be
apologies.
a tricky one, this one. We vote to accept Polly's. No. All right. Majority. Yeah. Well. Right. Okay. Moving on. It's Monday night. Come on. Consider plan applications received, and at this point pass over to Catherine. Good evening, Catherine.
Steve, please may I have my notes back?
Hopefully you've memorized them, haven't you? Which ones are yours? Those ones.
These ones are mine. Thank you. So the first one we are talking about is 119, which is Grove House, Marston Mead, and it's removal of the planning condition. Removal of condition 3, holiday/guest accommodation of permission 2021-0121/full, which was a garage conversion to create an ancillary guest house. So this is the location plan and a snip from Google Maps. So you can see the site and the garage conversion in the back there. This is the original plans submitted last year or the year before. last year for the garage conversion. So original garage drawings. This is the plans for elevation and plans for what was created. And as you can see, it's a very, very small house, 1 bedroom. I have in my notes said to objection. I'm aware that we do need small flats, small houses, 1 beds in Frome, but this proposal doesn't meet the national minimum space standards. Damon Hooton hasn't objected, who's the ward councillor, and there's been no comments from neighbours. Mendip haven't adopted the space standards, but as you can see, it's very, very tiny, especially in the eaves. You can see the standing space isn't fantastic.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
What is the national standard of space and how far below does that fall?
National standard of space. Oh, I emailed it to Andy the other day. Yes, thank you, Steve. This comes in at 27, I think I said. Or 32. Oh, well, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. I did double check it with the architects. I've just not made it. Hang on, Fiona, I will. In their application, they have said it'd be for a couple, which the space standards are bigger for a couple.
Do you know what the space standard is? Sorry, do you know what the space standard is for 1 person?
I think it's about 37. It depends on if it's a shower room versus a bathroom. So there's lots of stars at the bottom.
But, I mean, you said Mendip hasn't adopted those minimum space standards.
No, and they are advisory.
We do know that, you know, there's a housing crisis here of people looking for smaller properties. I may not choose to try and squeeze my lifestyle into it, but there's lots of people who are keen on tiny homes and all sorts of things. So I'm verging on support. I certainly don't have any objection.
Okay.
As a renter and as a single renter, I agree. There's nothing available in Frome to rent at the moment. Will this be for rent on the open market or?
Yes. So it's currently has a condition that it can only be used as holiday or guest accommodation. So it would be an Airbnb or a B&B-esque holiday let.
But that would be removed, so then it could be long-term rent.
Yes.
Could we specify that it's for 1 person, or can we not do that?
Don't think you can put that as a condition.
We could ask for it to be put as a condition. I've just because I'm able to get online the minimum space standards for 1 bedroom with 1 person is 37 square meters, and for 2 people it would be 50 square meters. So we could certainly suggest that. Whether or not Mendip feel that it's a condition that they would be able to apply, I couldn't say, or enforce even. Yeah, because you know, how can you enforce how many people live in a property?
They haven't mentioned their intentions to actually sell this, have they?
No.
It's just for rent.
They want to rent it out. Well, they've said in their application to rent it out. I don't know if they've said that with the intention to later sell it. It's only the space that doesn't comply. I think they've got enough parking. I think if we go back to the side, yeah, it's this. So you see the polytunnel that's next to that on the left-hand side. I don't know if they could sell it because it would interfere with their access then, I think, if it wasn't theirs.
They'd have to divide the land up somewhere, wouldn't they? I guess.
Like, is there a long term, like, does this, because obviously what you're talking about now is that if, as it stands, they're not selling, but if they sell it, would they be able to, if that condition is removed, would they be able to sell it as a separate property?
I think so.
Yeah. At some point they could, but I mean, at the moment it's their garage, isn't it? This is above their garage. So, and they would have to then divide the land up accordingly to sell that parcel of land with that building in, and then you'd had potential access problems because the only way they can access their house is through that little lane.
Sorry, just looking at the site plan, the red line actually goes around the main house and the garage. So the red line on the site location plan on the left hand side there. So actually, then the red line should, if they're going to rent it, the red line should really be separate around the garage, and it should also indicate the area of any garden or outside space associated with it, unless there's a plan that, is there a plan that shows parking arrangements for it?
Yes.
Yeah,
So they've
so
just got the parking in front.
yeah, so really, if this is going to be rented as a separate dwelling, in my view, the red line should only be around the garage and its parking space and any outside space related to the rental unit. And then the remainder of the site would be outlined in blue to demonstrate that it's within the applicant's ownership.
Any other comments? Nothing online?
I can see. No, just Polly. Oh, sorry, it was her. Apologies for Melly.
Right, so go on.
I can see that there's limited head height. How much head height do they have at the standard? And is that important?
Got to have minimum head height. Sorry, answering the second part of your question first.
Yeah.
You have to have a minimum head height. It's 2.3 to 2.5 meters, which I believe they do get in the strip down the middle at the peak.
Yeah, that
peak
I think that's what I'm asking. How much? Like, how wide is it? Like, is it like a head's width? Yeah.
It's actually called out.
So if I were a normal height, I'd be fine. That's luxury for me. But if you were like 6 feet, how much headroom would you have? Like, would you be able to walk in a basic strip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those red
In
lines.
between those lines.
Okay, so enough to crawl into bed.
Yeah.
Do we have any information on how good the quality of the renovation was? What's the insulation? Is it?
I did speak to the architects when I asked them for the dimensions, and they said it's a very neat little house. It's got insulation, it's got everything, but they did design it, so I
Any details of that?
no, this is the new application is just a change of use. Not change of use, removal of condition. I took this from the old application, and they only submitted plans and elevations.
I just think surely we'd rather not have another Airbnb and have accommodation for someone in Frome. I've lived in some really tiny flats in my time. And if they're nice and small, then that's preferable in my opinion. And I just think we've got such a shortage of rental properties in Frome.
Okay, good point. Sorry.
I mean, looking at this, what concerns me is, I take Fiona's point about wanting, you know, 1-bedroom flats, rental accommodation, but there is no guarantee as to what will be charged for this. And reading the Civic Society's notes and the notes that came with the planning application about, you know, affordability and generating an income, you know, what I'd look at that and I'm thinking probably for square meterage, that could be one of the most expensive, you know, small flats in Frome. But because we have no control over that.
No, you can't put a condition on for
Exactly.
how much they charge.
Yeah.
Polly's got her hand up.
Polly.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think it looks fine. I think the design looks fine. I think it's unlikely once it's built that they would be really satisfied with it being rented long term, because you know you have to come onto their property and you know, in my experience that always, you know, has a good start, but long term, you know, weariness, because it's you know, sharing the space, cheek by jowl kind of thing. I think it's more likely that it would really add value to their property, and there isn't really anything wrong with that, because it's also adding, you know, accommodation but in the same space. If it's a good build and it's well insulated, I wouldn't see that there'd be any need for objection. So if I were there, I wouldn't have a problem with it. That's what I'm saying.
Thanks, Polly. I think we're getting to a consensus, aren't we?
Yeah.
So shall we vote?
Sorry, Polly said if it's built, it is built, isn't it? We're only looking at lifting a condition.
I think that was one of the things I have no objection, but I would like to make sure that it is insulated to a higher standard, because otherwise it's going to be freezing cold and cost them a fortune if you've got a garage underneath.
Yeah.
So
That's not part of
Is it a
this
garage
application, though, is it?
No, I know, but if they're changing the use, can't we put a condition on, Jane?
there isn't a garage underneath it.
Isn't there?
It
It is the
It
garage.
is the garage,
Garage.
yeah.
The ground floor is the
Ground
garage.
floor.
It is the garage.
ground floor's there, kitchen, dining,
Mm.
loo, living room, and then bedroom upstairs.
Okay, all right, fair enough. No
I
objection.
mean, it's already there. It's already probably being rented out as an Airbnb. It's just a question of, are we happy for somebody to live there long term?
Okay. Right. No objection. Someone propose that, please. Andy, you in a second. Right. Good.
Next one. Oh, do I have to see? I don't know. Okay. Oh, it's frozen. Hang on. There we go. Next one.
Good to see you again, Ken. I'm sure we'll be in touch now.
Thank you. Right, next one is 120 Antara's 1C, the Cedars, erection of a single story rear extension and first floor rear extension. So I think it's the one on the end on the left hand side. So it's the new builds by Rodden Meadows, clad in cedar, as the name would imply. And then we've got the existing site plan and proposed site plan sitting next to it.
You seen this one before?
Yes.
I thought I had a feeling of deja vu.
So they applied in 2019 to convert their garage into a living space. Then they applied earlier this year just for the single story, the first floor rear extension. And then they've come back this week, well, I'm sure it was this week, wanting to extend the ground floor as well.
We have an issue with overlooking last.
No,
Hey.
that's the other one. That's
Yeah.
the other side.
Yeah.
You said no objection last time.
This was
Well,
actually.
don't know if it was you
quite a
personally, but-
Nice one, wasn't it? We went and had a look at it, didn't we? So what are they doing that's different from? Thank you. Anna, what are they doing that's... Sorry about that, everybody. What are they doing that's different to what we originally agreed?
This time they're extending the ground floor out to include a bigger sitting dining room area. Last time it was just extending onto the roof terrace.
So they're keeping the roof terrace?
Keeping more of the roof terrace.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
You can see it. Yes, I think so.
Creating a new roof terrace above the dining room.
Yeah.
Can we just go back to the map?
Mhm.
Is that, sorry, just so I've got, is that the river? That's what a meadow.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah, that's a path.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's because
It's all trees behind where they live. It's actually really nice.
It's lovely.
Okay, I haven't got any objection. No, I know.
Oops. Come on.
Any other comments for anybody?
Like,
Oh.
you make comments.
All right. No objection again. I'm going to propose that.
No objection.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay. Last one is Monte Alto, Mount Pleasant. They want to demolish the existing garage and conservatory and put in a new side extension and less to the left hand elevation. Did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. So location plan and the snip from Google Maps, just so you can see that they're overlooking the dairy, so there's nothing behind. So this is the existing plan, where they've got a studio come garage, I think, on the left-hand side, and they're taking that space to create a living room. What's a living room? Yeah, living room, shower room, and utility room, and removing the conservatory. Good. These are the existing elevations. So it's a 1960s bungalow. These are the proposed elevations. We have had a message of Helen Kay, who said she was unsure about raising the roof level, just because it now becomes 2-story on the bungalow, but they haven't submitted plans for a first floor, so I don't know. Well, yeah, quite.
Have we got a street scene for that road?
Yeah, but I can get it up on Google Maps if you want.
Helen would like to speak.
Okay. Can we let Helen say something? Speak.
Of course.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Hi, Helen.
Yeah, hello. I've been and walked around and had a look at it from different angles. The house was, the bungalow was bought by somebody new about 2 years ago, and they've already put up a very big fence in the front, which is over 12 foot, I'd say. They've obviously got plans. You can still see the dairy behind. It's next door to that little corner there as you turn into the industrial estate, and parts of the mount are part of a conservation area. And this bungalow sits between the conservation area and some newer houses as you go back down Culver Hill, and they're all 2-story. So in some ways, I don't really have an objection to them going 2-story, but I'd sort of prefer it if they did it all in one go, because if you look at the plan, I don't know if it's on this page that was just shown before, the elevation, I think it's slide 12 on your presentation, Catherine. Oh no, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the bungalow on Google Maps so I could show.
Okay. It will look very odd as you come up Culver Hill and go down up towards walking along Little Keyford Lane, because you'll see a sort of a flat, you'll see the existing roof, and then at right angles you'll see a sort of a vertical wall, which will be quite long, and it will block the view of the conservation, the houses in the conservation area beyond. And okay. Okay, so there's now a 12-foot fence in front of that. So you can't actually see it.
Just go.
That's the bungalow, isn't it?
Yeah. And they want to extend that garage.
But it will be higher than the existing roof line. And there will be a sort of where that little hand just was, there will be a vertical wall there that goes back towards the dairy. I mean, the advantage is it sort of hides the dairy. I haven't quite made my mind up about it, but I just don't like the design. If you look at the last slide that you showed,
is it higher than the surrounding roof lines?
No, I don't think so. No, so I don't. And there's one house alongside it that's sort of at the back where there might be some loss of light. Right, so that's the right elevation. It's not. I'm not sure if that's the one I saw before. Sorry, can we move across
that
it?
one?
The proposed ones.
Yeah, it's that is the one actually. That one, the proposed right elevation. That's what you'll see, I believe, as you come up Culver Hill, and as you're approaching the conservation, the buildings on your right, the conservation area, you'll end up seeing that instead of seeing the conservation area. So that's what the view will be, from sort of at an angle from the street, but it will be at an angle. So you won't see all of it. Does that make sense? I'm not explaining it very well.
I think I see where you're. So it's sort of viewed from Culver Hill, Mount Pleasant, not.
Yeah, if that would be the view from Culver Hill, Mount Pleasant. Well, probably if you were standing in their garden, you'd see that. But also if you're in their front garden, that would be to sort of the left of that diagram, you would sort of see a bit of that. And it's really just whether or not I think that's a very good design to have in a next door to a conservation area. Will it affect the setting of the conservation area? I don't know. I'm a bit undecided at the moment. There's a whole load of stuff going on around there with people putting up high fences, which is all upsetting the remaining old buildings there.
Helen, hi, this is Philip. I note your points. I mean, I've walked this, and I know because it's on my ward. I've got just a couple of comments, and I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions. I don't particularly like the design because I think it actually spoils what's already there. But what I'm failing to see, Helen, is how it's going to block the conservation area. I'm not sure where. I've got the Google view on my iPad here. I can't see, where does the conservation area start? And I can't see that it's significantly large enough to block a significant part of that view.
Okay, well, I may be wrong. Maybe it won't. As I say, I haven't made my mind up. That was just my concern. It looks to me as if the new roof is going to be higher than the. Well, the two different pictures don't match up. It's disappeared again. The one that we were just looking at, viewed from the front. Oh, okay, maybe.
Helen, that's me trying to get back to the plan. It's just the zooms being. Oh, there we go.
I agree with you, Helen, because I think when I looked at the plans and then looked at the house itself, walked it, I think it just offsets that building completely. I don't think that it actually balances up at all. But I couldn't think, going through the plans and actually walking it, I couldn't really think of a reason for objection. I might be wrong, but I can't see anything.
It's quite set back from the houses next door.
Looking at the Google Earth, the house that's going to look onto this actually is Anne Hill's house.
No, it isn't. Anne lives further down.
She's further down, is she?
She's further to the right of the image in front of you, and south a bit of the image in front of you.
Can I ask a question? Have they given enough height to convert from a bungalow to a 2-story?
So
have they given themselves enough height to convert from a bungalow to a 2-story if they wanted to at a later stage? Is that part of the issue?
No, they've not said how tall it is. They've not included plans if they want to go up to a second story. You can extend bungalows upwards if you spend a lot of money on surveyors and things.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be part of their plan. I don't know if later on they're planning to go as a dormer conversion.
Quite often bungalows haven't got sufficient footings to take the second story anyway. So, you can't assume that that's the route they're going to go.
I'm sorry, if can I butt back in? I suppose, I think it was Philip saying that about the design. I suppose for me then, it would come down to a design issue. There are some people that live sort of on the back of that conservation area that have converted sort of the back end of that into they've got like a wooden cabin along the back that runs alongside the dairy. I think they would be affected by a bit of loss of light, but I think that is, I'm trying to remember which way round it is. It would affect their morning light, I guess, in the winter. I'm just trying to work out if you can see alongside the dairy, there's a pale brown roof at the back of the right-angled building below the one we're talking about. I can't point to it, but the building that we're talking about, you can see in grey where the garage roof is, that's going to be extended upwards and also going to be made longer, so it's going to go back towards the dairy. And then there's the right angle building below that is the old 18th century building that's part of the conservation area, and on the back of that there's a brown roof, which is an extension where a young family lives, and I don't know if there'd be some loss of light for them there. Actually, that face is north, doesn't it? So I don't think it would affect them that much.
Can I just bring Polly in because she's been waiting? Hi, Polly.
Hi. No, I only just put my hand up. Don't worry. Just chuck my 2 pennies worth in. It looks like a good extension of living space when you see the floor plan of it. To take away a energy losing, heat loss building like a conservatory and put in a more solid space and join the other one on, it looks like it will be a better build overall. So that looks like it's an improvement. If it's not ruining the street scene because there's already a wall up that you sort of won't be able to see that anyway, and obviously the dairy is hideous, isn't it? So it couldn't be a lot worse than that. I don't know, it just looks like it's a more solid, useful living space than a sort of slightly detached studio and a conservatory to me. So I think overall it looks like a positive thing, and if no neighbours have objected and they've had a look and we don't think it would adversely affect them, I would have no objection.
Yeah, I agree. I'd invoke the John Nelson principle.
Man's a legend.
It's their house, and if they want to make it look ugly, they can do.
We have got John Nelson back.
Are being recorded, Andy.
So that might affect the setting.
I don't think it's a particularly pretty extension, but it's the householder's right to do what they want with their house, unless they're breaking planning principles.
It could be that the drawings aren't particularly well done. That's what everybody sort of seems struggling to work out how it's looking. But the floor plan certainly shows something that looks a little bit more substantial, solid, better insulated, more useful as a living space to me. I don't know.
Thanks, Polly. Anyone else got any thoughts, comments? Mark? No? Philip?
Loss of energy and from a conservatory.
Hang on a minute. What are you after?
The Civic Society comments.
No objection.
No objection. I didn't think they did. No objection.
I must admit, I think my main initial concern was the roof line, but it's no bigger than the surrounding houses, and I've always, sort of design is, I'm in no position to comment on anyone else's design, quite frankly. So I haven't got an issue with it either.
Just Helen has posted a further comment. She says she agrees with Polly, but I guess I would still be concerned about the setting of the conservation area due to the design. I have actually just checked the location of the conservation area, and it doesn't begin until you get down to the Dippy. The other side of the co-op. So
Quite a
it
distance.
is quite away from the conservation area, and it doesn't look as though the views across would actually impact on that, in my view, at least.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Thanks for clarifying that. Sort of getting towards the no objection, I think I'm hearing. So
I'll propose that.
thank you, Andy. Thank you, Philip. Sorry, Polly. Your idea.
Great.
Thank
That's
you.
all I've got, unless there's any that anyone else would like to discuss. Yeah, there's trees and there's also a dormer window, but I know the Civic Society have objected, but I can't see any reason to object, except that it's not to my personal taste. And like Steve said, I can't do anything about.
Unless it's overlooking. Is it overlooking?
I don't think so.
No. All right.
I think there's a window there already, so it's
Okay.
It's Felix's now, obviously, because it's I don't think there's overlooking.
Catherine, is this 117?
Yeah.
Can I just ask for clarification on that? Is the dormer at the front or the rear of the property?
The rear.
The rear. That's okay, because I visited this evening on the way here, and I wasn't sure whether it was front or rear. I would object if it was front, but if it's rear, it can't be viewed, it can't be seen. So
okay,
it's okay.
Great. If there's no other issues, no other thing to discuss, I'm going to close the meeting. Can we vote no objection to all the others, please? Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Lisa. Can I now close the meeting, please, Hannah?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. The next scheduled meeting is the 15th of December.